Hello, everybody. Sunday, April the 17th. It is Easter. So happy Easter to everybody. Yeah, I know this is not our normal day to come on and shoot, but JT and I wanted to come on and talk a little football with you, little Bama football with you today. But before we get started, man, I have to say that I'm a little bit upset because I really don't know what the deal is on why the Alabama game was not on. I'm going to say a regular TV station where you didn't have to pay or have an extra subscription for it or something. That kind of threw me back a little bit. I was really looking forward to watching the game live, and I wasn't able to do it. I had to kind of sit with JT a little bit and watch it because he did have whatever ESPN it is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, something to watch it. So it kind of took me back. Maybe someone can give me an understanding why we weren't on a regular channel this time than not. But there's a lot of things that we want to cover. I have some opinions about it after watching some of the replay, seeing some of the plays. So let's get into it. JT, why don't you come on in, big fella, and join the show. So what is the name of the ESPN channel that it was on that I know a lot of people were tweeting about it on how they find it?
Well, it was on ESPN Plus, which is technically not a channel. It's a streaming service that has a whole bunch of other things on it.
So how did it happen to Alabama though? I don't know if that's ever been the case. Maybe it has. Maybe I've just missed it.
No,
But
that's never been the case.
so why do you think it would come up to this point where it's not on SEC Network or
Well,
ABC or
it was on the SEC Network Plus. I guess it wasn't on ESPN because I don't know. Maybe well, no. I guess the gymnastics stuff was on before. I don't know.
yeah at noon?
I don't I don't know. I guess Joey and Kirk Herbstreit went somewhere else this year. Probably
Was there another spring game on at the same
at
time
the same.
that we got overlooked at?
I don't know. I didn't look.
Yeah, I can't say that I watched any other games either. Sometimes, I might pop in just to see what other teams look like, but I didn't watch anybody's spring game. I was looking forward to watching this one, just because I thought there was a lot of things that I felt like we needed to see. Of course, the secondary to see how that was going to pan out. I wanted to see how the offensive line panned out. I wanted to see Jamar Gibbs, see how he looked um, in the game, and uh, Ricks. I know I said the defensive backs, but I thought that would be kind of cool to see and just see what's going to happen at the wide receiver core a little bit. So, um, was there a particular area that you wanted to see the most, JT?
I don't know if there was anything I wanted to see like more than anything else. I mean, like you said, I wanted to see what the starting secondary was going to be, um, and I wanted to see a little bit more from Jameer Gibbs and Jermaine Burton just to see kind of what they look like. Unfortunately, because of offensive line play, I don't think we got to really see much of what the starting offensive potential is. And I think that also was kind of kudos to the defense or the starting defense as well because they look good to me.
They did look good.
They look
If they
real
put
good.
it all together. So let's start with that with the secondary a little bit first. Do we is it solidified with these five? I guess it would be Ricks and Kool Aid, Branch.
Ricks wasn't
Uh,
he wasn't on the starting defense.
well, no, I'm saying, do you think that's
Oh,
the way it's going to end up now? That Ricks and Kool Aid will be the two corners. Branch, uh, Helms, that's his name,
mm-hmm.
and
Battle.
Battle. I'm not sure if Malachi moved up or did well enough to
Now,
take on the spot.
I think if I were a betting man, that's probably who I would say starts game one, snap one
Hmm.
would be those five. Um, I forget who was the first starter. Was it Kyrie Jackson?
Um, is that number
Was
27?
no,
Who's number 27? There's another.
I'm not sure.
27 was pretty good too. Uh, he might be in a transfer. He might be a rookie or a transfer. I don't know. I need to look that up.
There you go. He
Um,
said so. Justin's here. He said Ricks wasn't on the starting defense because Saban wanted him to play the full game instead of rotating him in with the first team.
okay. Well, that makes sense to me, but I still think that he's. I don't know. We gotta have some better corner play than we've had in the past years. Um, Malachi, I guess to speak on him, I think he's a very good around the line of scrimmage player, more of a box type of guy, pretty physical, knows how to use his body, can blitz, can cause some havoc up there, but just the coverage ability, um, you know, still has to improve um, a little bit. Um, so I think I feel better about it. I mean, there's a little bit more. I say experience because we were young, still kind of young. Couple seniors that'll be in the secondary, but I think they're going to get some help from being up front as well. I mean, some of those guys are progressing pretty stinking well from the lineman and the linebacker crew. Kyrie Jackson, that's what he says.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
yeah, he was one. He was wearing six. I liked him. I thought he looked pretty good. Um, I liked what I saw from Terrion Arnold, he was 12 on the Crimson defense. Um, and Christian
Hmm.
Story looked good. I don't know that he's, I don't know that he's starter ready yet, but he looked rangy. He looked like he could move around pretty fast. Looked a little comfortable. He got himself an interception. So I was pretty pleased with how both defenses looked. I thought that um, the defenses were the strong point of the scrimmage on both teams, um, which
Hmm.
is not usually how it is in the spring.
Well, yes, and I don't know if I'm excited about that, happy about that, or not. That it kind of panned out that way. I mean, I wanted the defense to be better, but I don't know. I'm worried about the offensive line. But let's stick on the defensive side still here before we get over. I'm sorry, I was worried about the offensive line. Um, so what about the linebacker crew? I was pretty. I like Dallas Turner a lot. I know I liked him before, but I just think he's going to be a beast. I
Mm-hmm.
think to and see how they try to use him in conjunction with Will Anderson if they put him on the same sides if they're going to be lining them up opposite. I just think there's so much that they can do um, with Dallas Turner because they had him stand him up as an outside edge rusher too. I guess in the 3-4 package they like to use. So I'm really really excited about that. Um, but this Jeremiah Alexander kid, where did he come from? That
He's
dude, number 35.
Yeah, he's an early enrollee. He's a freshman. He
That
just got
dude's
here in
gonna be
January.
all right. Yeah, he's gonna be all right too. I think that was. I mean, maybe it's way too early to tell in a spring game when the offensive line ain't looking all that good anyway. But it just looked like he was some doing some stuff for me. I don't know how many stars he had and all that kind of stuff, but at 6'2", 260, Alabaster, uh, he looked pretty good, man. He looked pretty good. So I just think we got a little bit more depth on the defensive side of the
For
ball
sure.
now. That's really, really could make, and they're young still. There's still not going to be a whole lot of people that we're going to lose, you know, um, from that. So I don't know, man. I'm with you. I think the defense is just it's coming on along. It'll be interesting to see what it's going to look like in the over the course of the summer and what it really looks like come kickoff in September or was the end of August?
September.
Okay.
I think it's
Trying to see what he's saying here.
he said early enrollee nose tackle Jaheim Otis looked good up front too. Got a sack and pushed folks back.
Well, yeah. See, he gets down there with those young cats, and that's good observation. I can't say I saw all of that, so I have to give full disclaimer on it because we couldn't watch it. Well, I shouldn't say we couldn't because I didn't see the full episode of it. I kind of watched the what do you call the thing that you sent me, JT? What is
The
that?
condensed. It was a condensed play by play. There were some things cut out, so there were some of the larger sacks removed out of it because one of them had jumped to like where the White offense was 3rd and 30, or yeah, it was 3rd and 30. So you missed the 2 sacks before then.
Yes,
but we had seen a little bit of it while we were at the crawfish boil, trying to watch it
yes,
on my little phone.
and maybe Justin knows that did Earl Little actually play the defensive back, cornerback? Did he actually, or maybe he's not even there yet? I don't know. Um, only reason I asked because I played with his daddy. I just wonder if he was actually there, um, or not. Um, okay, so how are you feeling about the defense overall, just in general? Then I know you said that we're looking better, but you're feeling pretty good about scheme and personnel.
Earl Little did not enroll early. Yeah, no, I felt pretty good about the defense. It looked like they knew what they were doing. It looked like they were just kind of flying around, having fun, and just being athletes, which is exactly what you want. They looked cohesive, all the way through, and it looked like there was depth there. It's kind of like, look, you got enough DBs that knows what's going on. I think you got enough safeties that know what's going on. Looks like you got every level I think has players behind the starters that can step in if they need to, which is more than I could say last year.
Agreed. So that's good. Hopefully, we can keep these guys. Just know there's always going to be some competition. Someone else can step in at any point, and hopefully not have too much of a drop off on it. But man, I'm pretty excited about this lineup that we got on defense because that'll be strong. So, what about the offensive side? We'll start with something easy, I guess. Your wide receiver core. Feeling good about those. Are the top 3 going to be Burton,
I don't know who
Brooks,
they're going to
and
be. I don't know that I
Joe?
even noticed Jacory Brooks. When I had actually there was one time, I think it was late in the 4th quarter, I kind of looked to see who the starters were at that time. Which was JoJo Earl, Trayshawn Holden, and Jermaine Burton, and they had Latu on the field. And I was like, I wish I would have been really paying attention earlier when I was looking at who was on the line instead. Okay, there you go. Jacory Brooks was held out for the spring due to injury. And Justin Riley said Kendrick Law looked good, which he was on the White offense. But on the Crimson offense,
Kendrick don't look like a tight end to you?
Kendrick Law?
Yeah. Just the way he plays. A little bit. I don't know. Maybe just could talk about that again.
Are we talking about the same person? I thought Kendrick Law was kind of small.
Maybe. Maybe I'm thinking about someone else. I was thinking of 83.
Oh, I think we are talking about thinking of the same person.
And I don't know what number they had. I don't know if all the jersey numbers matched up right.
83. That's him. 5'11".
Just look thick. What did it say he weighs?
193.
Oh, yeah, just kind of thick. 200 pounds. But anyway, I mean, I feel the same way about the wide receiver group that there's still some depth there that you're going to have 5 or 6 guys that you probably can play, um, over the course of the year.
Yeah,
He's
I
age
mean,
goes too fast.
I don't know that I'm not convinced yet that our uh, receiving core is even as good as it was last year.
Yeah, but can you put that on this game? I mean, they weren't really
No,
blocking.
well,
It
yeah, I'm
wasn't.
saying, yeah, it was rainy. Then Bryson had no time and things like that. But I think the ceiling is not as high as it was last year. But I also think the floor is not as low as it was last year anyway. I think it's kind of like the skill has become more consistent top to bottom and um more towards the middle. I think you kind of just you cut off a little bit of the top, you cut off a little bit of the bottom. I agree with Justin Riley. I thought Christian Leary looked the best out there. Um,
Mm.
although he was it looked like he had a very favorable matchup at the time. So
He did show out.
but I mean Christian Leary is just fast. So I don't know how many guys out there was going to be able to cover him like that anyway.
Yeah, he might be over your top guy. He probably could surpass JoJo. JoJo looked like I didn't see all of it, but the one drop he had
Yeah,
wide open
that wasn't very good.
on the drag, that was not good. You know, I don't know. I felt good about those that crew coming up. I was really, I guess the only thing I'll give you 2 spots. We've already talked about the offensive line a little bit. Maybe we'll dive in there a little bit more. But I'm not, and maybe I'm being too picky for my coaches. I kind of view the quarterbacks look like they were just maybe some technical things that they were missing. Now Bryce is still Bryce. We already know he's going to be good. He's a Heisman and all that kind of stuff. Maybe he was just trying to show off a little bit. Really trying to put some things, some really tight windows. That was good. Um, but Jalen, outside of the running part, I'm still not sure if he was as accurate as he could be with the ball. It just looked like his windup was a little bit slower. It just makes me think of well, Lamar Jackson or something. Going to be super talented, going to make some big plays, got a big arm, but just I don't know, man. Maybe I'm being too critical um, on that. Maybe just because of the way the offensive line was going. you know, I'm not sure. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I see what you mean with Jalen. I thought that some of his there were a few of his throws that I saw that didn't particularly look pretty coming out of his hand, but like somehow it I don't know, maybe it was the camera, but it just seemed like the ball corrected itself like somewhere
It
in
got there.
flight and it was just like right where it was supposed to be. And I was like, well, when they first let it, because I'll say this, there are times, and maybe you can relate to it. So, it's like sometimes when you're watching baseball and it's like you can tell by the sound that the bat made making contact that it's going yard. It's a home run. You didn't even have to see it. You heard it and you knew it was going. And there were times like when I would watch Tua throwing the ball on TV where you have no idea who's open down the field, but you can just look at Tua and look at the way the ball left his hands, and you're just like, somebody down there is wide open, and it's a beautiful ball, and you're just in awe of the ball leaving his hand. And to me, Bryce kind of has that same trait where sometimes it's like You know you can't see down there, but he's patted the ball and just threw it up there, and you just know, man, somebody, Williams must be running by somebody right now. And I didn't quite see that from Milroe yet, but he was also under duress. So, he's kind of like, they can't hit him, but he's throwing as if he's about to get hit, but it still made it there. And it still looked, at the end of all the things, it was still a pretty good ball. Ty Simpson was out there throwing darts. He was just, I don't know if he had any deep balls. But those ones over the middle, they were just strikes the whole time. As you could tell, he could put some zip on the ball. So I think that Alabama's in a spot where kind of, I don't know. I feel like they can find a way to win games with any of those quarterbacks.
I 100% agree. And Jalen did throw that ball that he threw to Christian for the touchdown.
Mm.
I mean, that was awesome. I mean, it was really good. But I think what you're talking about is just, and I forget the real term of basically how fast they spin the ball. I think the way Bryce's ball comes out of his hand with the spinning, this direction, that it's the flip of his wrist is, or last finger, I guess, to give it to the rotation is just amazing. So those are pretty when you do that. Now, Ty, I mean, you can tell he definitely has some skill. I mean, using his legs. Now he was under duress a lot too. He is running around showing that he could get out of the pocket and go ahead and go. But I think he's going to be good too. I mean, I think you put it the best that if you had to play with any of them, you probably feel like you could find a way to give them something to do, especially if you can hand the ball off to some of these guys that's back there. So I was glad to see Gibbs at number 13. How about that?
Mm-hmm. He's fast too to take one 70-something yards on the starting defense. Up the middle too. Just hit it and it's gone.
Yeah, he hit it. Did you really look to see what happened on the defensive side, on how that actually kind of worked, or why the hole ended up so big? Did you actually see what?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, so it put the linebacker in a big bind. Not taking anything away from Jamar Gibbs, because it's perfect. He did what he's supposed to do, cut back into the backside A gap, but they actually pulled the guard. You see how I always like them pullers? They pulled the guard around, and linebacker flowed too fast over the top. And Jamar was patient enough and put that foot in the ground, made that one cut, and was gone. That was all she wrote. So that was really good to see someone that can take it to the house like that and just go. Send some DBs, try to catch him with some angles, and man, he just kind of outran the stuff. So I'm pretty excited about that. I was also glad to see how McClellan was running the ball. I mean, he still looked good to me as well. What'd you say? Oh,
so
yeah.
Latham and McLaughlin cleared that path. It was a thing of beauty.
Yeah, it was. It was nice. They did run. I paid attention a little bit more about the scheme. But let me finish on the running backs first. I think McClellan looked pretty good as well. Still, just trying to be able to get outside. He's just a tough runner. He's probably a little bit more physical than Jamar.
It was a shame that he got hurt last year, because he was looking pretty good at the beginning of last year. Him and Roydell, and then both of them went down. Oh, he said McClellan didn't play. So I think are you talking about 26 on?
Yeah, 26.
Yeah, he's a new guy.
What's his name?
I don't know. I have to look him up because I was trying to read his jersey, but
yeah, sorry, I was just assuming that that's who that was. But he played pretty good. It was a good fit of being physical and still being able to get outside. some. Still going downhill. But again, I don't know what to think about up front, man. It's because I'm worried about what the hell is going on up front. It looks like we're big and got size, and maybe I'm being too critical. I just don't know. I was looking at the tackles, um, particularly the left tackle. Well, I guess it could have been on the right side too. And they do this little kick slide, and then they kind of open up, like turn perpendicular to the line of scrimmage. And I think that's where they're getting beat around the edge. Just make sure you go back and watch that. You know how you're supposed to try to keep your shoulder square to the front of to the. You're trying to stay parallel to the
Mhm.
line of scrimmage as long as you can before you open it. It looks like they kick back, and then turn, and now it's a soft edge. Um, I don't know. That's just kind of what I saw from a quick glance. Might not matter when you're going against 31 and some of them other dudes. Um, it just seemed like there's a few things that they need to fix. Um, Last piece on that is Saban. I heard him say that they didn't have enough of the playbook in to um, scheme, you know, the blitzes or the pickups and things of that nature. Now, I don't know if I really like that or not. I mean, at our level of play and all that's just saying, hey, we didn't really have in a lot to pass protections and things of that nature to be in for it. Well, why are we letting all the defense do all this kind of stuff if we can't match up on the other side? If we're just doing one or two protections or something. I didn't like that comment um, that he made. I don't know if you happen to hear that or not, but they were interviewing him and he just said, "Hey, we didn't put in everything." I think he was trying to protect them too because he saw they weren't playing that well, and
Mhm.
that was kind of disappointing to me at this point. Um, that we should have. Am I making sense there? That if you don't have everything in, then you need to tell the defense maybe that you can't do that much. And it wasn't like there was some elaborate blitzes the defense was doing. They're just getting whooped. Um, so I don't know. I'm just hoping that's not foreshadowing to what it's going to look like next year.
It might be. I mean, some of the things that I was thinking about while watching the spring game was like, we gave Doug Marone so much, flack for not having the offensive line looking good the entire year, and then I'm kind of like, maybe they're just not that good. Like, maybe it just ain't there. You have
Mhm.
and I had kind of said it to you on Saturday where I was talking about the 2020 class that a lot of kids didn't play in 2020, so you didn't really get to. You had limited opportunities to scout,
Mhm.
and you kind of just had to either take older film or kind of lean on the recruiting services a little bit more and less individual evaluation, and maybe we just got a few duds in there. Um,
Well, that ain't the place to have the duds.
no,
That ain't the place. We got all the other ones right. Good Lord. Um, I don't know. I don't know. And maybe it's just a scheme. Again, it just seems it's just simple. But simple is okay, I guess, if you're effective. But it's the same RPO, you know, fake zone, slant, occasional bubble. It didn't seem like I did point out I didn't think they ran the outside uh,
well, looking at the
slot route.
stat sheet, if you take out all of the rushing attempts from the quarterbacks, um, the Crimson team ran the ball a total of 13 times, and
That
the
ain't good.
white team ran 16 times. So I mean, There just wasn't a lot of running, really. I mean, you
What
had
was the total plays though? I'm just trying to figure out what the percentage of running plays is. Is that like 20%, 30%? Are they?
let's see, Bryce
Are
threw the
they?
ball 29 times, and there were 20. So I mean, it was
So
roughly
70, 30
50-50.
by each color or each team
Well, no,
total,
no.
or
So like the Crimson side. Hi, John Davis. How you doing? The Crimson side had 29 passes, 25 rushes. It just so happened that 11 of those rushes, which are also it counts sacks, right? So like
gotcha.
if it was a called pass and you get sacked, that goes down as a run, which is why I took Bryce's rushing attempts out. So if you take those out just completely, you have 29 pass attempts and 13 runs, which is 70-30,
Yeah, 70-30.
roughly. And on the other side, you had two quarterbacks going. So there was 35 pass attempts. And if you take their rushes out, that was also about 70-30 or 66-33.
So I don't say, is that who we're really becoming? That we've kind of changed from the old smash mouth running the ball, just kind of falling in line with the way football's going. Air it out, throw the ball, take what they're giving you. They got too many in the box. You already got your automatic check lined up, and we're going to throw the ball more. Maybe that's just where I need to be. The run game ain't going to be all that until I guess, till they force you.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think there's a couple of things that you kind of just have to think about in general. Is like I think it probably, if you have a Heisman winning quarterback, it's probably in your best interest to throw the ball more than 50% of the time anyway.
Yeah.
But then if you're also looking at your O-line and saying, hey, these dudes just those five ain't the five that we had when, name another year, not last year or the year before, then maybe your percentages of runs are low because they're looking at it as like, we can't do that.
You can't do it.
Until you run up against a Cincinnati when you're like, all right, if we can't run against these dudes, then we really got problems.
Yeah, I mean, we're still going to have some of those games, but once you get to the playoffs, it's just going to get difficult. The schedule is, I don't know if it's favorable or not. But man, I don't know. We just got to do something up there. I just don't like it seems like for years I've been talking about the doggone secondary, and now it seems like I'm stuck on the offensive line.
He said two starters were out on the O-line. Eric Wolford put together a patchwork O-line that he only had 3 weeks with.
Yeah, well, I'm glad at Justin because he's very nice. Some of the time, I think. Yeah, and maybe you're right. But I don't know. The name of his show is a Bama Standard, and our standard is not to be trying to do this or figure this out. No patching up shit. We need to be solid up there. And JT kind of talk. We won't necessarily call any names, but as he alluded to, having a conversation about having some players that maybe just slip through the cracks that we have on the roster that maybe shouldn't be there, is maybe becoming a reality that some of us really can't see.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, not particularly naming names, but I think there are certain of all of the. Well, I'll say it like this: with as much shuffling that the offensive line did, I mean, even just last year, right? We had guys hurt on the offensive line like all year last year.
Mhm.
The solution was moving guys from this position on the line to another position and like trying to shuffle the line, people on the line, and insert a different person. Which to me, if you are somebody who is a backup lineman, would be sending me a message that saying, like, hey, like clearly I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing because I'm the backup center
To him.
and they're like, no. So right, we're like, somebody goes down. I can't remember who it was. Maybe it was Cohen, or Cohen came in and they were like, we would rather move the guard. We'd rather move our guard over to center because our center's down and our tackle in the guard and then bring in the next tackle instead of bringing in whoever the actual backup center was.
Yeah. That's not good.
Yeah. So, I mean, like,
call.
and I do understand, like, your backup center might also be your starting guard. But, like, if you're moving two people like that, to me, that tells me that your line depth is not what you'd like it to be. And there are certain people, I'm sure those watching, you can go find out. There are certain people who came in as high recruits that they did not find themselves on the field last year with as many injuries that we had and how much shuffling we had to do.
Yeah.
And even now, you had 2 offensive linemen hurt on your starting offense. They're still shuffling guys around, and one of them might be hurt, and the other one is playing on the second string offense still, even though you got 2 people out, So, like, how good are you really? I don't know.
They're trying to get the NIL deals. Yeah. They better get. I don't know, man. I just don't want that to be the focal point because that will mess up, the quarterback play, the running back play, and all this other kind of stuff. And maybe gives the wide receivers another chance to eat. I don't know, or you just have to get the ball out a little bit faster, run those bootlegs and all those other things that we had to do last year. I don't know. Overall, though, I think the team looked good. Give the win the defense. I think the defense really was a bright spot for me. I think we can catch up, as you've said, on the offensive side, just a little bit more planning, solidifying who it is, as Justin said, maybe get, patch some of these holes up front, and then let's go out there and get going. I mean, mentally, we're going to be ready. Physically, yeah, I guess we should be ready to compete just with the amount of 4 and 5 star guys we have. But I don't know, man. Yeah, I mean, you see what happened to us in some of those games when the offensive line didn't play well. It scares me. That's what I leave it. I'm still scared. I'm not totally sold yet that we're going to make it all the way to the big dance yet. I think we're going to be good and we'll be back in the hunt. But I need to see a little bit more.
Well, they've got one tune-up game, right? And then they've got a pretty big road game.
What, coming to Austin?
Yeah. Then they'll have 2 games, and they'll have to go to Arkansas.
Well, it is what it is, man. I think we'll be okay. I didn't get to hear what Justin and them said on their show tonight because I have to go back and try to listen to see what kind of analysis the Bama Standard had tonight. I guess he'll be back on Tuesday night, right? Don't they do Tuesdays at 6?
Tuesday at 6. Oh yeah. Speaking
So
of which, Mr. Nick Saban Jr. says, "Let's be real. No one in the country is going to hardly block our defense." And I was gonna say, it seems like we've been doing this flip flop, right? Where it's like 1 year the defense is carrying us, and then the next year the offense is carrying you, and then the year after that the defense is back to carrying you, and then the offense is carrying you. And now it seems like we're back to the defense is gonna have to carry this team.
all right, that's fair. That's a fair analysis, and I appreciate the comment, um, Nick Saban. Just because I guess maybe sometimes we forget about that when they just allow just to pin the ears back and go eat, as they say, and just get after it in these spring games. Don't really have a whole lot to lose.
Yeah, and you don't actually have to get to the quarterback. You just got to get close.
Yeah, you just gotta wait, and then you can throw your hands up if you miss them. Like,
Yeah, especially since I showed you Jalen Milroe's touchdown on the read option, and they ended up calling it back anyway. It's like, come on, man, he wasn't making that tackle. He wasn't making that tackle.
Wouldn't have made that tackle. They wouldn't. They should have gave him the touchdown. But anyway, so I think. So what do you say, JT? How do you feel after just the little bit that you watched? Are you feeling good? You feeling? Yeah. Well, what is your feeling today?
I'm feeling all right. I mean, I don't think it's as it's never as good as you think, and it's never as bad as you think. It's spring. It was rainy. So I do think they'll be better. I do think they'll be better by Utah State. So there's a lot of time to figure things out. At least on the offensive line. They're still, it's April. They've got 5 months. Yeah, almost half a year to.
Okay, so one fun question just for me, and I know a lot of people don't play college football, fantasy football, but I did for the first time last year, and it was kind of a blast. So should Jamar Gibbs be the first running back taken?
No.
I don't think so.
No. I mean, just
he's a 3-down back.
He is a 3-down back. But I mean, like,
we can't run the ball is what you're saying.
No, I'm not saying that we can't run the ball. I'm just saying, like, if you're gonna pick like a fantasy running back, like, it'd be different if it was like Najee or Derrick Henry or somebody. But like last year, I would have said you probably should pick Breece Hall, not because he's like the best back or anything, and he plays for Iowa State, but like you just know that he's gonna score 2 or 3 touchdowns because he is Iowa State's offense.
Yep, I took the guy from Texas. I'm forgetting his name now.
If I was thinking about somebody from the SEC, I might have thought that Zach Evans transferring into Ole Miss.
Well, see, I think they're going to use Jamar Gibbs on a lot more screens.
Probably.
Because I think we're going to end up getting a lot of pressure because we can't necessarily slow people down, and they're going to hit him, and he's going to be gone.
Justin says Gibbs will be sharing a lot of carries with McClellan, Williams, and Sanders. So, yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, if I'm also like, just again, you got a Heisman who, regardless of whoever the Heisman is, if the Heisman winner is a quarterback,
he ain't got them dudes.
Don't pick the running back,
year, man.
Well, I'm just saying, don't pick the running back because clearly that's not what the offense is because the quarterback won the Heisman. Like, I would go look and see like who Michigan State's running back is this year because the quarterback ain't gonna be no good. So,
yeah, he was up there. Him and the Michigan guys, they were Haskins or whatever his name was. He was killing it. I should have took him. But okay, well, I think we've kind of hit on this enough because we're going to have to hit this again on Wednesday night.
Yep. Justin says he's off this Tuesday night. He's going to
Oh well.
see All-American safety Kevin Jackson get inducted into Mississippi Junior College Sports Hall of Fame.
Oh, nice, nice.
John
Well,
Davis says
congratulations.
Bijan Robinson. That's the dude from Texas you were talking about. And Travion
Yes.
Henderson from Ohio State should be good ones to pick.
Yeah. So I had both of them last year. I doubt I can get both. I don't know how I slipped up and got both of them last year, but I was killing it. I didn't have no quarterback though. I was struggling. Um, I think I ended up taking second. Um, but yeah, okay. So I guess I can't really promote you up too much for Tuesday night, but make sure you come check out Teague's Take on Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Central Time. We are going to have Ryan Fowler on and your compadre, Justin, Stephen M. Smith, to come on and talk about this. We want to dive into this a little bit more. I'm assuming both of them probably made the game and saw it live, so they might have some more insight that JT and I didn't have just from watching the little short clips
Mm-hmm.
here. So we're really looking forward to hearing their inside take on all of this, and you know, uh, just be able to talk about this a little bit more because I think it's going to be great. And I'm really feeling good about this. I am ordering my tickets as we speak. Make sure you have them. We typically only order the uh, home games, but since we do have the game out here in Austin, I'll be make sure I'm picking up some of those tickets as well because I need to talk a little bit of trash to these UT fans. Hopefully, we can go ahead and knock Sarkeesian out really fast, and he ain't too strong um, this next year. And then we need to upset. I'm saying upset, but we need to smack down A&M since they went and gave all that money to all them players. So last thing, JT. So I just gave a little plug on that, but what about this Tennessee deal? Is this true? This $8 million man? Any other talk about this kind of stuff? The quarterback is supposed to be catching a potential
I
NIL deal
mean,
for about 8 million.
so before the Athletic had actually reported it, that seemed to be the consensus from everybody else anyway, just because of like what happened and quotes. It was kind of like, yeah, this is probably the kid that got it, but nobody knows for sure. Yeah, but I mean, that's fine. He still went to Tennessee though, so
How you feel
I
about it? Both all the ways around. I mean, I got mixed emotions about it. Hey, get your money when you can get your money, but then I'm like, I know you're not being paid to play by rule. You're getting paid for your name and your image and your likeness. But that seems pretty big coming out fresh out of high school, and you ain't unless I'm just missing something. you know, I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, to me, it don't bother me at all. I mean,
It is what it is.
yeah. I mean, like again, it's kind of like, or to me, it always just for me, it always boils down to this: are they students or are they athletes? If they're students, then there are no rules, and if they're athletes, then you probably should just stop pretending that you're not a pro league because there's too much money in just all around to not. So I'm saying like if I think it's okay for Nick Saban or Lincoln Riley, if I think it's okay for Lincoln Riley to be paid $6 million a year and the school buy him a house and sell his old house for him and give him a private jet and all these things, then whatever. That's the way it works.
Okay, and I'm gonna close on this because I'm gonna give you some homework to do, and maybe I need to give it to someone else that's a whole lot more advanced than will take the time to do it because it is a lot closer to us than we think as far as high school sports go and paying players for their name, image, and likeness. It's already happening on social media, right? We got all the TikTok kings and queens, um, and so Louisiana just passed the rules where high school players can get paid for their name, image and likeness. It's pretty close to us. It's 3 hours from here. And from everything that I can tell from my study as an athletic director is that it's probably going to hit Texas here within a year. And so I'm really curious to see how this is going to affect how you coach in college, or in high school, like you said. What does it do for players who are potentially making 5 figures or more in high school? How does that change the landscape of high school sports as well? No, we don't have the answers now. There's probably a whole nother different show. And it should be a different show because if it hits and we're now what we're talking about, hey, are you professional league in college because these guys are making this kind of money? Well, what happens when they're 16 and 17 and making about $100,000? Play a sport. Some booster that's at Alabama starts paying this high school guy just to try to get him to the college that he wants.
Well, I think the easiest thing to do is to you kind of like what Drake did, right? Like there are schools that give out scholarships and there are schools that do not. And the schools that do not form their own conference and they just decide together that they're not going to give out scholarships and they play against each other. And the Ivy League does the same thing. And the Ivy League says, you know what? We're not even going to do this whole playoff thing. We're not going to the playoffs. We're here to do this. These are the kind of kids that we recruit. And our biggest game is making sure that we beat the hell out of Yale every year. As long as we beat Yale, we're happy.
Well, I think this is the makings of the super conference that we already talked about because the people with all the money, the top 25 teams with all the money are just going to break off and say, leave us alone.
Well, so Justin Riley says his question is, what if these NIL providers for these high school athletes make them sign a contract with the stipulation that they attend their college team? They can do that all they want to, and the kid can still go somewhere else, and they would have no recourse because the kid would be 16 or 17, and from what I remember from my business law class in college, that is an unenforceable contract. So companies, if you want to do that, you give the kid the money and he decides not to go anywhere, not to take your money and then not do it, he got you. That's it. You lost the money.
Yeah. So that would be a bad day on when the hat reveal for signing day, wouldn't it? Well, no, I guess they wouldn't have had any money. Well, yeah, they could have taken in the money for a couple of years. Oh, man. You're making me scratch my head now. So,
yeah. So just like Ohio State, Quentin Ewers got you, bro. You gave him $1 million and he plays for Texas now.
Oh, God.
That's on you, Ohio State.
It's going to get ugly. It's going to get ugly. But that's okay. All right. So let's talk about that another day. Let's talk about the USFL another day. I think those would be a good one. Little topics to talk about after I watch it a little bit more. So we do appreciate you guys for popping in for a little bit. We didn't really think we were going to talk this long. And Justin, we're sorry we missed yours earlier today. Make sure you guys go check him out. Follow him on Twitter and Instagram at Bama Standard. Make sure you get to us as well on Twitter, Instagram, Teague's Take. It's on Facebook as well, Teague's Take. Find JT on Twitter at BamaJ13. And you can get me on the social media handles at Teague Football. So it has been very, very good. It's been a short one. It's been a good one. Just a little bit Alabama football, but we're going to follow up on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central Time. Same place. We'll get a graphic out for you guys here the next day. And hope to see you back here. Until then, we'll see you a little bit later.